Maturity is very important in our society today. Now, you are not born with it or even given it. You become more mature through the experiences you have and what you go through. This is why you see some adults who never really grow up, or also why you see some teenagers who act very mature. Now, how mature do you think you really are? Listen to these 7 traits of immature people to find out. Number 1, immature people are very reactive other than proactive. This is one of the habits in the book 7 Habits of Highly Effective People. What this means is that they react very negatively towards things that they don't have a lot of control over. For example, an immature person might get really upset that it rained today. Instead of getting up and saying, "I'm going to be in a good mood no matter what happens," they are reactive to their environment instead of being proactive and acting in their own best interests. Number 2 is entitled. Immature people say since they got A's in high school, they are entitled to a high-paying job, or that the government is entitled to give them Social Security. This idea comes from the book Why A Students Work for C Students. Rob Kiyosaki explains that you are entitled to nothing, and that the way many people are believing that they are entitled to all these benefits is a huge problem inside the United States. Everybody has to work to get what they deserve. Number 3 is defensive. Now, this is a really big problem with a lot of people, including myself. Now, I had some troubles with this. But when people come to you with advice, you need to stop the temptation to just deny and be defensive. Immature people will never admit that they are wrong. They have to win every argument. And if all the signs start pointing to them, they will not hesitate to blame other people. Now, this is the opposite of what a good leader will do. Leaders will take the blame even if it's not all their fault. So stop being so defensive and start taking responsibility for your actions. Number 4 is being a victim. Now, I personally don't really like this one. Everybody has bad stuff happen to them, and when you tell someone about something bad that happened to you, this person always has something worse. What happens to them is always worse than what happens to you. These people are always complaining and telling people how hard their life is. Mature people have the ability to be grateful for what they already have. They understand that complaining about something is not going to make it any better. Immature people also have a very hard time forgiving people and like to hold on to a grudge for a very long time. Number 5, immature people are always talking. They think that their conversations are more important than yours. Now, I'm sure you've heard the saying, you are the average of the 5 people you spend the most time with, which means that you want to put yourself around successful people and hear what they have to say. But if these people even got in a room with them, they would never hear what they had to say. They are always talking instead of listening. Mature people have the ability to listen more than they talk. Now, I do want to say that I am not referring to extroverts in general. There's a clear difference between people who enjoy talking to other people rather than people who seem to not have the ability to stop talking and just listen for a single second. Number 6 is they live in the past and the future. They always talk about how they accomplished all these things years ago, but ignore the fact that they don't do anything anymore and try to live off past fame or success that they once had. Then they will talk about all these exaggerated things that they will do in the future. Then they just keep putting it off and saying they will get to it, but never actually do. Number 7 is no self-control. Self-control is very tough to form, so I actually made a full video on how to form it in the easiest and fastest way possible. I'll put a link in the description if you're interested. Now, immature people don't have any, so they will laugh about it all the time, as they eat unhealthy food, smoke weed, or cigarettes. Now, I would like to say there is a time and a place for everything, but immature people's time and place is now and wherever they are, and that is not correct. So you need to learn when it is okay to binge so there are no consequences to your actions. Now, if you have one or a couple of these traits, that is totally fine. Everybody probably has at some point in their life. But remember, mature people can admit there's a problem and start working towards fixing it. Don't be defensive or act like a victim. You have the power to change it, so you need to get to it. Now, if you could relate to this, make sure to subscribe. And thank you all for watching.